This Egyptian army has been sent to lay siege to Qadesh. But are they also equipped for a fight on an open battlefield?
Then the archers in front, over to the left, down on them.
We see quite a lot of archers in the Egyptian army. Now, they actually had quite a good fighting reputation. They have their uses in a battle like this. They're dangerous to the Hittites.
Can you zoom in on those
And he's got
5 units?
some more chariots in reserve over on the right there.
Can you zoom in?
The team are realizing that they have far more infantry than the Egyptians, but the enemy also have a formidable force of chariots.
Chariot, if you like, is a status symbol weapon. It's important to mass those, and it shows wealth and status. It'll be quite interesting to see how they work or don't work with the foot-mounted infantry on each side. The Egyptians using the chariot as a platform for archers, for hurling missiles, breaking up the enemy formation.
So, James, what we see here is a fair representation of what you saw. Are you concerned at all that there's still plenty of blocks left over?
From what we can see from here,
Right.
there didn't appear to be any other.
I would certainly bear it in mind.
Yeah,
Right,
don't forget it, let's put it that way.
This can be from the other armies that have yet to march
That's
to
what
the
I thought.
field.
God, I'm suspecting not.
Sam's hunch is right. Ramesses, the Egyptian pharaoh, is expecting 2 more divisions to join his army. They could arrive on the battlefield at any time. The team must remember this threat as they formulate a battle plan. They must get into action as quickly as possible before the second Egyptian army arrives on the field.
One of the things that Ramesses did was that he sent a whole division of his army, these troops called the Ne'arim, up the coastal route, what's now the coast of Lebanon. And if they appear into this battle, they can suddenly tip the scales. What concerns me at this stage is that they haven't seen the wood for the trees, as it were, and that the salient features of the battle, the need for aggression, the need for them to use their superiority in heavy chariots, haven't yet become clear. But let's listen to how they formulate a battle plan.
OK. The ford's the key thing.
If we get
It's a
that.
high ground dominated.
We actually have to attack them, don't we?
Yeah.
Because they want to, they're happy to delay,
Yeah. we
because then they can get their extra men.
So we need to.
So
sure they don't get their archers
somehow
on
we've
that
got to take
high
the
ground
initiative.
Yes,
Yeah,
we have to,
we
because
have
they've
to
got
do
time on their side.
Yeah.
For strategic reasons, the Egyptian army moves divided, but fights united. And what the team has to do is they have to attack the Egyptians while they're still divided, while they're divided up into 4 or 5 blocks, defeat each block of the Egyptian army. In turn, that is the only way that they can win this battle.
The team's first plan was absolutely on the ball, but the longer they talk, the more complicated their strategy seems to get.
Can we look at it another way? Is there any way that we can induce them to attack us?
Yeah, so we use our chariots to entice them, send some chariots over.
But I think you certainly want to get the chariots out into the open on their side of the river.
I think Sam has definitely got the right ideas, hasn't he? He's grasped the idea that you want to use the chariots on their side of the river, on the flat ground there, and to exploit the mobility and the hitting power.
OK, can we fight a defensive battle and entice them across?
These are going to have to cross because they're going to have to entice the enemy and retain the cavalry on.
But we've split our forces there.
Yes.
And they're separated.
Peter doesn't want to split their force up, and that's good. See, fighting a defensive battle assumes that the Egyptians are going to attack.
One thing we can be fairly sure about is that the Egyptians will not be suckered into crossing and giving battle on the terms that they're trying to define.
Let's come here. Let's
try
let
and cross
them
them
come
over.
to us, do a quick dash and then come back again.
I'm worried by this. I think they've lost, as it were, the plot in the sense that they've really got to use their superiority in chariots aggressively to make it tell in the early stages, and they've now resolved to fight a defensive battle. So this would concern me quite a lot.
It's Sam's plan, but are you all agreed on it?
I'm agreed on it.
I trust
We know
his
what we're
judgment.
Sam's the general.
OK. Excellent. We'll see how you do, because it's time now to deploy your troops.
It's 1275 BC. It's the Battle of Qadesh. Controlling some 40,000 Hittite troops are a team from Lord Wandsworth College. Using modern technology, they have to beat off the invading army of Pharaoh Ramesses II. The team's army is led by King Muwatallish of the Hittite Empire. With almost twice as many forces as their enemy on the field, they should be able to crush the Egyptians and retain control of the critical city of Qadesh. The team will try to lure their enemy across the river in order to fight the battle on their terms. A strong defensive line will pick off the enemy army one by one. But first, they must entice the Egyptians across. They plan to launch a lightning strike with their powerful chariots to provoke an Egyptian response.
Why don't we just send all my chariots over?
We'll check with them, because
Well, we've got to send half and half chariots. If you send all of mine over and keep all of yours in reserve, it'll make it quite simple.
Sending the chariots across is what was done historically, and it wasn't working badly for the Hittites. It did cause a lot of chaos in the first two Egyptian divisions.
Vicky, you need to create a line of infantry with the edge of the infantry anchored on the river.
As the team begins deployment, they discover they've got one extra piece of 21st century technology to help fight this ancient battle.
Peter and Sam, I'm going to give you even more help than the Hittites had back in 1275 BC. Here is a real-time satellite view.
So this is how we got it set up.
This is where you are right now. You need to get to where you want to be.
Vicky,
yeah.
can you move your people here towards it as well, towards the ford? Your infantry.
Can you point me out on there?
Right,
You see where James is? Do you see where James has got all his infantry forming that line?
Yeah.
Can you form a line to the right of his line?
Okay.
Poor communication means that deployment is taking time, and that's one thing this team doesn't have.
Time, as Vicky identified, is their enemy. They have to get themselves sorted out before the Egyptians get themselves sorted out.
Of course, there's one other assumption we've made. There's no other crossing place on
Where
the
do I
river.
want my general?
You can kind of
I
see
think we
the
can.
map.
Vicky's got a question.
Hopefully. Yeah, go on, Vic.
Where do we want the general cavalry to be? My little cavalry section. It's very small. Do you want me
They're
to show
going to
that?
be, what, on the high ground?
This is a real danger in the teacher-student relationship. Vicky is afraid to do anything without coming back and asking Peter, her teacher, whether she can do it. She is afraid, she doesn't feel she's empowered to actually get in there and do a job on her own. She's a weak lieutenant if she can't just leave school behind her and fight her own battle.
As the team struggle with communication and command, this Achilles heel becomes more noticeable. Others have also forgotten they're no longer in the classroom. Peter, the teacher, doesn't like sharing power with Sam, his student. He's trying to take sole command of the Hittite forces.
So have we decided what to do with my cavalry?
I think, ignore Sam, put one lot just on the top there. Yeah, that's right.
So where's the top?
Just over on the right.
On the right,
so,
on the high
yeah,
ground?
Yeah, on the right of the high ground,
So
so
it's
they
off
can
this
sweep
map?
down if necessary.
So it's
Just do a sort of quick attack.
So, Sam, what's the worst thing about Mr. Booth? He can't hear you now.
No, I don't know. I sometimes find it difficult to. I don't know. We have sometimes disagreements on certain aspects of it.
So he's quite often wrong, is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that. Maybe I'm sometimes wrong. I get pretty stubborn on certain things, so I might be getting this all wrong, so we'll have to see how...
How much trouble do you think you'll be in if your plan is just a disaster?
Well, nobody else came up with a plan, so I don't feel that bad.
Okay. Oh, but broadly, are you where you want to be?
Broadly, yes.
Okay.
The Hittite infantry wait on one side of the river, while the team send their chariots across the ford. Their mission? To lure the Egyptians back across the river onto Hittite ground. But will Ramesses fall for the team's bait?
Right, this is it. We're
I really
going
hope
in,
they can
guys.
cross the river.
We're going in. Let's just hope they don't all get bogged down in the ford. The whole battle.
If they get stuck, it'll be very embarrassing.
Well, we've started. Here we go. This is the moment of truth.
I think they're getting across.
So this is a lining attack, James. You're controlling it.
We're ready to pull out.
Zip in and then get them to
Zip
come
out.
back again to attack us.
Right, James, you've been given some autonomy there. Your general says, do what you need to do, so you may not have to await instruction.
You're our brilliant cavalry commander, James.
Yeah.
So you're going to dump on him when it goes wrong.
Straight in there.